Welcome to Super Kicking with Steven, your favorite host right here, Stephen A. 1181, the Greg one over there, coming to you live on a Friday night, uh, the kickoff full gear weekend because we got that happening tomorrow. Um, Lots of matches, of course, because AW loves to throw a ton of matches at us. It's kind of interesting, Greg, how WWE and AW have switched places in that, haven't they?
Yeah, it is. The WWE switched to less is more, and AEW has gone the other way, and more is more. So
Not
it's
necessarily better.
exactly. So there's too
Yeah.
many storylines, I think.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the thing too. You do have ROH kind of playing a part in there. They're going to get their own pay per view next month, though, on December 10th, Greg, which is the same date as NXT Deadline. So that should be kind of interesting to see how those two go up against each other. But let's just start at the bottom here with AEW Full Gear. Um, Really important event last year because that's where Hangman Page won his title. Um, we could talk about the title reign afterwards, Greg, but no doubt it was very big last year. So we got the big meaty fest here, Greg. Wardlow, the TNT champion, Samoa Joe, the ROH TV champion, and Powerhouse Hobbs, the champion of being shirtless, I think. So, which guy are you going to pull for in this big, meaty hoss fight?
I know. It's a good way to start with a big hoss fight. I don't mind it at all.
Mhm.
I like the three that are in here. I like how they're making Hobbs, look like such a beast, putting Mortlow down on multiple occasions. And then we all know what a beast Joe is. So,
Yeah.
goes without saying. And, they haven't really, I don't know if they've really determined what title is on the line, if a title is on the
I
line.
think it's the TNT
Um,
championship.
okay, so um, for that alone, I would expect Warlow to retain
Yeah.
somehow. However, I'm going to say Joe gets champ status and finds a way to win.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if maybe next month, with it being ROH's final battle, then we'll get Samoa Joe defending his TV title. I mean, he could probably do the same guys in a way because right now they're the way they're kind of feuded. But I'm going to go Wardlow. But like we've said, Greg, is it? I mean, hopefully this is the start of maybe rebuilding Wardlow in a way, right?
Right.
I mean, you look at man, I mean, him and Hangman Page. It's like, was the chase better than the actual title? Run. Um, it happens. I mean, because some guys that's just what we want. But so I'm going to say Wardlow retains, but Hobbs getting it or Joe at this rate wouldn't surprise me. But um, we have to talk about this. Unfortunately, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
Hmm.
Don't ask me why they're paired up, Greg, but they are against Sting and Darby Allin. Sting and Darby Allin win. That's all I got to say on the map.
Agreed. I mean, if I could fast forward through it, I would, because
Yeah.
nobody wants to see this match.
I mean, I guess with Jeff Jarrett just showing up, you probably have Santum play a part. So would it? I mean, it probably wouldn't surprise us if they get the win somehow. But I don't. I don't really care. so, um,
I, just
go
be
ahead.
contrarian. I'll go and say the
Just you're
the
going to go
bad
the
guys will
opposite.
win. The
Yeah.
bad guys win. Yeah,
But then, yeah,
because
and
of the
like I said,
sadness
it wouldn't
factor.
surprise me because if we really consider where we're at right now. But um, how about this one, Soraya, Dr. Britt? Are you sticking with your Dr. Britt Baker prediction, Greg? Because I kind of follow your logic with it, and the more I think about it, I think I'm going to follow that train as well.
Hmm. You know what was funny is that on Dynamite, where we're listening to them do their separate promos,
Yeah,
and if you didn't know any better, you would think that Britt was the face and Soraya was the heel,
yeah,
because her promos sound more heelish than
yeah,
Britt Baker's. And Britt Baker's on Wednesday, especially, that sounded very babyface. Uh, and even though they're on the opposite sides, you think.
yeah.
Um, so I just found that weird. that Britt drops a babyface promo, and Soraya's is more middle of the road towards the heel side, even though she's going to be the babyface favorite.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm still saying this is more important for Britt than for Soraya. And if she can come back and she can go and she can show that she's all the way back and can do this again, she may achieve more in losing than she does
Oh, yeah.
in winning.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it felt, and then had Tony Schiavone was pretty good on commentary when he's like, "She asked me not to be there," just really laying it out. So,
Mhm.
um, it's gonna be interesting to see Saraya, back in the ring. Do they do a quick match? Do they let her go 10 to 15 minutes? Just to kind of see where her legs are at with her. But I think your logic of building, doing the slow hill for Soraya getting back is probably the better storyline. So I'm going to go Britt Baker here. How about this one? Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus steel cage match. Uh, I think this needs to be the end. But I'm afraid, that it's always nobody can interfere, Greg. We just saw it happen at Crown Jewel. We've seen it so many times. Uh, I'm just afraid Christian Cage is going to play a part. I mean, I'm going Jungle Boy with it because I think at Winter's Coming, you do Jungle Boy, Christian Cage, move them on. You just finally have a final out battle there, an all out final battle, you know. But anyways, uh, so then Jungle Boy, Christian Cage finally paid off at Winter's Coming, and both, everybody's got to move on because I don't think it's really doing much anymore. You know, just holding it off. So I'm gonna go Jungle Boy to win here. Gets a match with Christian Cage for Winter's Coming.
Yeah, I agree with that. It can't be the end because the end is going to be when he finally gets his hands on Christian.
Yeah,
Christian's the one who started the whole thing. Has been disrespecting this whole family. Um, you know, saying nasty things about his mother and sister. And so, Luchasaurus is the obvious roadblock, but the incomplete is going to be when he gets his hands on Christian. And the whole storyline is taking a beating just because they've both gotten injured at bad times. Christian's got injured and Jungle Boy got injured, and it threw the whole storyline out of whack because you had this nuclear heat at the beginning of it, and then you know each of them get hurt individual of each other, and it threw the whole timeline way off. And so now we forgot what almost completely forgot what they're fighting about. Christian can't go back and cut those promos about banging um, Jungle Boy's mom,
oh
but so many times, and still have its original heat. So you got to wrap it up. So he was going to get the win here against Luchasaurus, and then finally get his hands on Christian at Winter's Coming.
yeah,
So I totally agree.
Jade versus Nyla Rose TBS Championship. I don't remember where Jade is at. Is she at 50 yet? Because that's all that really
No,
matters. I think it's 40 or will.
yeah, 30, 39 or 40, I think.
So this is all Jade gets her title back. Probably, I wonder if she gets rid of the baddies. She's kind of had issues with them lately, trying to help her out. So, like they always say, if you got to do something, you do have to do something. If you want to do something right, you do it yourself. So I think
Right.
she wins the title. We're in spite of them, and kind of just shoves them to the side. And do you think Jade kind of turns face, or has she
Mm,
kind of turned face in a way?
No, dispatching the minions doesn't really make her babyface yet.
Yeah,
She's got to do something babyface, and this is kind of still a heel versus heel
yeah,
thing. People are on the J train just because they dig the catchphrase, they dig the unique look and everything. But she's still a heel. There's no doubt about it. It's just one heel against another heel, and them trying to out dirty the other. So That being said, I've enjoyed Nyla, and it hasn't been often that I've been able to say that because Nyla matches are pretty hit and miss for me.
Uh-oh. We lost Greg
That
there.
is,
Oh, there he is. Okay,
oh,
you're
yeah,
back.
but her, being bad and showing some character and
Yeah.
things like that is it's been really good. So I've been enjoying Nyla for once.
Well, do you follow her
So
on Twitter? Because she's got all the personality in the world on there. I guess it just doesn't always transfer on TV. But
no, I don't. But
yeah,
if she's got an entertaining social media, I might take a look at it because I always get a kick out of that.
just well, as long as Twitter's still around, till the hamsters start going off the wheels soon. So,
So.
how about this one, Greg? Your boys versus, I guess, my boys. They're back. So that means the CM Punk stuff has to be coming to a head soon, right? I mean, this can't just linger like a dark cloud. So really cool to see the Elite back. Interested to see what way they're going to go. There was an idea that they had this uh, uh, a trademark for the Wayward Son, kind of taken out there, but now that's gone. So I'm guessing they're going to just kind of keep to them, their usual stuff. But I'm going to go for it, Greg. The Elite's back. They should get those titles back. Technically, they never lost them. Unless they lost them somehow in the fight in the backstage. But I think the Elite grabbed them right back. And like we've said before, I think this is because Pac tries to get either Phoenix or Penta to use the hammer pick or
Mhm.
whatever it is. They say no, and they eat a super kick party, eat the V trigger, and there we go. And
Yep.
then it should be interesting what kind of promo they cut on Wednesday night. Back. You know, I don't think we'll get a promo tomorrow night necessarily, but maybe after the show, you'd be curious. I would be curious to stay afterwards and kind of see,
Mhm.
when all the dust settles. But maybe they're not even ready to talk yet. Maybe they're just kind of let it go and just start fresh. But I think this is all the Elite, and it's probably going to be an all-out brawl type match. Just a super kicks a flowing and everything. The over/under on aerial attacks probably should be like what 50. I mean,
Okay,
it's going to
great.
be up there.
Yeah.
So that could be within the last few minutes. So I'm going to go the Elite. Greg, are you going to stick with your Death Triangle, or are you going to roll with the Elite as well?
No, the writing's on the wall there, and not because the Elite are better. I mean, remember the match of the year, wasn't it last year with the Bucks and the Lucha Bros in the cage? Um, I believe that was last year.
Yep.
So we know how great those
Yeah.
the match is going to be when those guys are involved. Throwing Kenny and Pack, and you know, this is going to be a 5-star banger, no doubt about it. And but like I said on the last shows, that the cracks in the foundation are already really there, and they're big. With Pat going um, the discussing heel route and trying to get the Lucha Bros to come to the dark side as it is, and any means necessary, and that rift is going to cause them to lose the match. So um, how exactly we're not sure, but it's going to happen. Elite's going to win. So, but I'm going to enjoy that. It's going to be probably one of the best matches of the night. So,
And just like we said, it'll be interesting kind of how they play up to the crowd, and maybe which side of the fence they'll be aligned. But I said earlier, I think you need to go the hey, the what would AEW be without us? Type of heel,
mhm.
grandiose type stuff. So, how about this one? Chris Jericho, the current ROH World Championship or champion, Brian Danielson, BCC, Sammy Guevara, JAS, and Claudio Castagnoli, uh, the BCC. So, or BCC, Blackpool Combat Club. Greg, I will let you go first because I have a little theory that unfortunately might sour your Blackpool combat love because I think it might. I think there might be a bad day for them at the office
Mhm.
tomorrow night. Honestly, just with the way things ended on Wednesday night and where things could go. So I'll let you go first, and then I'll throw out my predictions.
Um, this probably is one of the biggest question marks here because of all the combustible elements in there.
Uh,
Um, we've already seen cracks in the foundation with the BCC, especially with Brian Danielson,
yeah,
and um, with Jericho and the JAS, and him kind of disregarding Sammy as his little buddy, and the guy's going to do the right thing with the right moment. You know, harkening back to visions of the finger poke of doom.
yeah,
I think that's kind of what he's insinuating, and it's going to be curious to watch it and see when it gets to that moment because it's going to come.
yeah.
And is Sammy going to go for the finger poke of doom? Um, so it's going to be a fun match, but I think that Jericho is going to find a way to come out on top.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. But I do think I wonder if Brian Danielson, you know, causes Claudio to lose, walks out, just like says "f this," I'm trying to do things on my own. But this is my start of the end, Greg, of the Blackpool Combat Club. Unfortunately, tomorrow night I think it all comes to a head. I don't know why. It just feels like there's just something there, especially when you think about the main event and William Regal's involvement and which direction he could go. But I think this is the end. And, for what it was, I mean, I guess we'll talk about this as my demise when it happens, Greg. But right now, how would we rate the Blackpool Combat Club?
Um, as far as all
Like
time
it's
factions go,
no,
or
just in general. Like, how do you think they've been? How have they been? Trying to think of like, does it feel like they've been booked to where they should be? That's where I think I'm going.
mm, no,
Yeah,
because they don't seem,
as
like a
big as they
unit,
should. Oh,
right?
yeah,
They're more a collection of individuals. I mean, they don't come to the ring together.
no,
You know, like I said, if the Shield or the Horsemen or the Freebirds had a
yeah,
singles match, the other ones would always be there.
yeah,
If Danielson or Yuta or Moxley has a match, you don't see the other ones there. You see Regal
yeah.
out there, but you don't see the other members out there. Um, John Moxley was getting his butt kicked on Wednesday, and none of the other BCC members came out.
Uh-huh.
So that should tell you something. So they seem like just a collection of individuals and not a true faction. They are by name, but they don't act, move, and um, as a team.
And I
So,
guess, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
so I think that's part of the reason that they're not um, as high on the marquee as they should be. Mox is, but Daniels is not. Claudio's not. Um, Yuta's not. And although their schedule's like or whatever, but they should all be coordinated to be there as a single
Oh, yeah.
butt kicking unit.
And I guess if the goal was to get Will Yuta over, well, that succeeded. But
Hmm.
do we think, I don't know if Claudio is any higher than where he was. I mean, he won
No,
his first title ever, and it was like an afterthought, So that's kind of that's a that's kind of a sad takeaway from it. But
yeah,
um,
he's barely had any matches. Plus, the whole angle of let's get some more members in here, some of these young pups, and
yeah,
teach them how to do this thing. That whole angle has died too because we haven't seen any new members since
no,
Claudio. So
and he's not a young pup. So,
no,
um, well, yeah, I guess you wonder if Daniel Garcia, if they would have went full bore with that, if that would have got them some momentum back. But I mean, some of the battles they had were great, yeah, but well, and then plus we never went with the Eddie Kingston Claudio stuff, right? I mean, that probably should have
hmm
been that should have went further, unless there's legit, beef there. Sounds like Kingston and Guevara might be some common pieces and different things that happen backstage. But next up, how about this? Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm. that's that's all I got on this one.
uh, like I said, I don't get what the deal is with Jamie Hayter and why she got so hot all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That being said, Tony Storm hasn't seemed that important to me. I mean, she's she's got a great look and her matches have been decent, but she doesn't come across as the alpha female. So I'm curious if they're going to try to test the water, see what happens if Jamie Hayter wins, because having her carry around the interim title for now it would be a good test run and see what that response is in the eventual unification of the titles.
I mean, if we
And
had to
so
put the most over female right now, who is it? Is it still Britt
it's still got to
or
be Britt.
Soraya? I guess.
Well,
Soraya's
Soraya's here, but until, like I said, she has
to prove a little more.
Yeah, she does. We have to see that she still got it, to steal a phrase. Until then, it's still Britt is the boss bitch, pretty much. So, I would like to see Jamie Hayter win, to tell you the truth.
Just to kind of play that up.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, the Acclaim versus Swerve in Our Glory. This is obviously the end of the road for Swerve in Our Glory, so this is all the Acclaim. I'm kind of thinking, Greg, this is going to be I think this is less than like 10 minutes, if that. I think this has got squash match all over it. Either, Strickland walks out or a quick miscommunication, but this is now, I guess you could play up now. Anthony Bowens had a nice arm sling. I think he did some interviews today where he was in a nice sling, so you could play that up. But I still feel like this is not going to be a all-time classic AEW tag team match.
Yeah, it's not going to be like the first two were.
Yeah.
Which were classics. But yeah, there's too many fractures with the Swerve in Our Glory team. And I believe one's going to walk out on the other, whether it's Key Lee walking away or Swerve walking away. But yeah, it's going to be much shorter match, and I think this is just the purpose of splitting up Swerve in Our Glory and having the Acclaim, have this, end the rivalry and move them on to something else.
All right. And now this is going to be Ethan Page versus whoever. So we're going to have Ricky Starks and Lance Archer tonight. How about we start there? Who do we think is going to win there? I assume Ricky Starks.
Yeah, Starks.
And then it'll be Brian Cage versus Ricky Starks. Tomorrow in the pre-show, are we keeping with Ricky there? I mean, Ricky Starks beating Lance and Brian Cage, back, 2 nights. That could get him a little. Because I feel like this is Ethan Page's to lose overall. I'm going Ethan Page all the way. I mean, I really thought he was going to lose the Bandito, but now that he won there, there's there's hardly any doubt in my mind that he's winning tomorrow night.
I'm gonna say Starks all the way, just because this just seems to be his.
He can use it too, though.
Yeah, his return to being the top star that he thinks he is.
Yeah.
And after being beat down so much, his path back to the top. So yeah. I'll say Starks all the way.
And then finally, here we go, the big money match. We saw, come to blows Monday or Wednesday night. Jon Moxley, AEW World Champion versus MJF. Where are you going, Greg? You going to pull the trigger on MJF's first title win ever?
it's hard because that's the way it looks, and you know how much they love to swerve you.
Uh-huh.
Some weird thing happens, um, at the end that swings everything. But I'm feeling MJF, and this is gonna be the coronation and um, his big moment, and actually sticks to his word and not use the diamond ring, which I've always hated anyway. That and hitting somebody with the belt is equivalent to getting hit over the head with a cinder block or something.
Mhm.
It just seems absolutely ridiculous. But that notwithstanding, it feels like it's going to be that moment where it Moxley's going to finally get to pass the torch on and take that vacation he should have got
Yeah.
3 or 4 months ago
Mhm.
and go off of TV for a little bit. So um, that's what I'm feeling, and so I'm going to say that MJF is going to get it done somehow.
And here's where I go, Greg, and some other people ran with it, but I'll run with it too. Doesn't mean he can't use a pair of brass knucks given him two. Maybe he already has them, and then that's an homage to Mr. William Regal because I think it all comes full circle. I think MJF, William Regal paired up all along, Greg. Because why did we bring up an email years ago and
Uh-huh.
go that angle? And I just and even some people brought even the camera shot of William Regal kind of in between both of them
I saw that. Hmm.
is kind of, I mean, you don't sometimes you shoot things for a reason, you know, most times you do. Um, and I think this is, so Moxley, because let's face it, we've kind of already brought up the BCC. What use is there anymore? If you're not going to finally end things with, Jericho Appreciation Society, which I thought you have, but you keep facing them. This is where it all comes to a head, and you know we're going to see MJF raise his hand with William Regal, even if the firm tries to interfere. I do think there's going to be a lot of you know little dumb shenanigans probably with the firm, Greg. That's why the swerve is MJF and William Regal all along were paired up. So
Hmm.
unfortunately, the BCC will be dead quicker or sooner than Twitter, but or who knows? Maybe Twitter goes down at the same time because that's the way it was looking last night. So, but I do think unfortunately this is the end of BCC, and like you said, I think Moxley's earned hell 6 months off if he wants it, but I think taking holidays off, coming back fresh in January or something like that, or maybe make an appearance at Winter's Coming, then be done after that. But this is all we wrote for the BCC. But overall, Greg, I think this is an important pay per view for AEW. Just with that, having the elite back, and I don't think they've given us that. I don't know that big pay per view yet. Like I hardly remember Double or Nothing right now. We had Forbidden Door, we had All Out, but All Out's kind of marred by the CM Punk stuff. So I
Hmm.
think they need a clean. They need all the right finishes and all the right booking. And people just giving this a nice ribbon on it, as they say. So,
Sure.
what do you think?
I agree. This is a way to reset the deck going into the new year,
Yeah,
and having the elite back in and ready to go. Um, I didn't think I would miss the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler and Don Callis, Carnival barking as much as I do,
yeah,
but I do miss it. It was great TV. It was fun to watch, and it was fun to hate on those guys. Um, I miss Kenny because his whatever gimmick he was working, the guys' matches were always A plus.
uh-huh.
So we had to do without that and the stuff that brings. Um, and then all the pieces that were at least attached to the elite, from um, Switchblade Jay White to Adam Cole, and hopefully Adam Cole gets better and can come back. I've seen some things about him that they're questioning whether he will ever come back. So um, I hope that he gets better. But and Mox can take off till the new year, but this is the way to put the pieces back together and get them ready going into the new year, and be without the cloud of CM Punk, and get everybody riled up and ready and looking forward to what's going to happen in the new year. So this is very important that we get off on the right foot, um, put those main characters back in the script, and you know set everything up for the new year, because I think this is the whole purpose, is get everything ready to go, hit the ground running in the new year. So I'm excited for it. I think this probably be the best card of the year. Probably have a couple new faces turn up,
Yeah.
because this is kind of what they do on these big cards. We're going to have somebody, make an appearance or is all elite that we didn't anticipate, and going to have that buzz going on with them to end the show. It's that extra thing to talk about uh, beyond the elite coming back and stuff like that. So um, yeah, this is huge. This is probably the biggest pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, and like we said, just last year you had the good Hangman Page moment, so I think this year MJF's moment, even if it's a heel moment, I think it would still be big for people. So,
Sure.
and they will do a media scrum afterwards, Greg. So who knows? Maybe we'll hear, "I'm tired, I'm old, and I'm working with effing children" or something like that. So, um, if anybody's,
Get a dog sitter.
yeah, get Larry out
And
of get all animals out of the way. But
yeah.
yeah, so I just say, yeah, like you said, I think they need to kind of get back to what they were doing right, and it feels like they haven't really, because they lost a lot of viewers, I think, on the other night, they said, so their viewership was down. So that's not a good thing, going into you know contracts and all that in the next couple years. So.
Hmm.
But anyways, that's all I got on that. Anything else for the good of the matter here on Full Gear, Greg, or enjoy the Friday night, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah, just looking forward to it. Um, I think we're gonna talk about going to the movie theater and checking it out. I think I might actually go do that and have that experience, see what it's like, because of all the pay-per-views this year, I think this one might be the one worthy of sitting in the theater and watch it on the big screen. So I think I'm going to do that tomorrow, and give you the report of what it's like.
Okay.
Because usually you're supposed to be quiet in the movie theater while the thing's playing, but
Oh yeah, that would,
this,
yeah. I guess I hadn't thought about that. That would be interesting.
yeah, but this isn't
I mean,
Japan. That's not going to happen. It's going to be people cheering.
it's like
So
yeah, it'd be like watching a basketball, like if they
yeah,
broadcast their teams. So,
yeah,
um,
a sports bar feel in a movie theater. So
and I know this is probably random, but I think Sunday night I'm going to check out Elton John's last concert ever, because that's going to stream on Disney. Now the downfall is it's at 11 because it's
ooh,
gonna be, I think it's going to be live from Dodger Stadium.
mhm.
So um, that's a 3 o'clock, 3 hour difference. But I don't know if I'll watch all of it, but I was curious about checking that out. Never seen him, but he was always one of those guys, Greg. I think I was like, if somebody bought me a ticket and said, "Hey, do you want?" I want to turn it down. Now, am I going to get on Ticketmaster and wait 5 hours like Taylor Swift tickets? No, but if somebody had, if somebody paid me a ticket to go see Elton John, I'm not going to say no. But and then also the other random question: Christmas decorating now, Greg, or after Thanksgiving?
Okay, well,
Or
first,
do you decorate? I think last year you're not a big decorator, right?
no. If I have a woman in my life, and that's her thing, I will do it with her. But
Okay.
if it's me as
I
a
decorate
bachelor
for
and
both of us.
there you go, you can do it. I am not a decorations person,
Yeah.
but if there's kids involved or a significant other involved, I will happily jump into the mix and lend my long arms to the cause. But if it's just me as a bachelor, it's like my walls will stay bare. Um, so is
I've
that
not made a lot of progress this week myself. I was hoping to make more progress, but I was down a couple days sick, and so my Christmas tree, I dragged that up from the basement. It's sitting in a corner with lights on it, but I haven't done anything further than that. So I got two trees I have to decorate this year that I did last year. So I have a
nice?
Pacers one, and then I have my kind of random wrestling, nutcracker, just whatever other sort. But I keep my Pacer one in my family room, and then I have my other one in the dining room. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm usually pretty good about already having that stuff done, but this year I've been a little late with my stuff, and as you can see, I'm still doing that, so that's fun. But yeah,
yeah.
IPA,
Halloween is the one I'd be gung ho about
yeah,
putting up decorations, stuff like that.
yeah,
Halloween's my jam.
yes,
Um, so Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's a little too over commercialized for me as it is. So
yeah.
it's is what it is at this point. And I didn't know that about Elton John's last concert because
I'm
um,
pretty
I've
sure.
I've been to three of Ozzy Osbourne's final tours. So
Oh,
if that tells you anything.
that's true.
When somebody says last show, last tour, last whatever, I'm like, okay, they'll be back in 3 years. Um, and I think Ozzy is about to go back out on tour again. So
Yeah,
um,
he's going to be like the Stones and probably just uh, you know, die on stage. But I thought I saw what was it? Elton John final show. Yeah, so it says Elton John live from farewell from Dodger Stadium. So it'll be on Sunday night,
okay.
11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Well,
But we'll see.
yeah,
Like you
I've never
said,
been a big Elton John fan. I mean,
yeah,
I'm a Billy Joel guy, so
yes,
I thought he was always been much better than Elton John.
he's a little more rock too.
Right. As far as actually playing their skill at playing the piano, who
Yeah,
knows who's better, but I've always loved Billy Joel's songs and his style a lot more than Elton John's. I mean, there's a few Elton John songs I'm okay with,
mhm,
but you know, I might take a peek at it if it's like the actual last concert.
yeah.
But Sunday night is Chargers versus Chiefs,
Oh yeah.
so I will watch that and then I may flip over and take a peek at it on Disney. But
Yeah. I was
there's
gonna say it
bigger
probably
fish
would
to
be
fry.
yeah, your game might be finishing up by the time that starts,
Right, right.
right around there. But yeah, well, it's always interesting how him and Billy Joel talked about. He kind of hated the comparisons, but I mean, they kind of they kind of you don't have any rock and piano players in rock music, so it's kind
True.
of hard not to compare the two and to look at they kind of both had their addictions. I mean,
Hmm.
Billy Joel's probably more women and booze, and Elton John's was drugs and probably men, but who knows? It was a lot of drugs though, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard not to. And then I felt like they kind of both did movie soundtracks at the same time, so you kind of you had Elton John doing The Lion King, and Billy Joel had a couple soundtrack songs. So, and then of course they went on tour together for almost 20 years. So I mean, how could you not compare the two in some
Exactly.
regard? I mean, it's like the Stones and the Beatles. Like if you really look at their music catalog, they probably could be further from each other. If you really, sit back and listen, like some of the early stuff, especially, like the Beatles were totally, boy band. I mean, then
Right.
you got the Stones, so they're, blues chords. We just we only need two chords and just keep throw a solo on there. Mick doing some licks on there, and you know, bass player just hammering out notes. So yeah, but one of these days I need to get my music podcast going back up because I feel like I could just talk hours on that. So.
Hey, you and me both. I still think Aerosmith is, or Rolling Stones is a dollar store version of Aerosmith. So, but I think
Uh,
Aerosmith just does the Rolling Stones better than the Rolling Stones. Let's say that.
okay.
Instead of you being a Stones fan, I won't
Oh, I'm a
disparage
Beatles
them
fan.
that hard.
I got Beatles. Like if it's Beatles and Stones, Greg, it's Beatles all day. Like I always joke, like there's a Beatles channel, there's not a Rolling Stones channel. That's all. That's all I need to know there. But granted, there's other channels I don't think they need, but that would be another conversation as well. So. All right, we need to get off here because I am starving to death because I need food and I am ready to get rid of this, whatever this is going on. So. But back Sunday night, 6 p.m., we'll kind of catch up on everything. We'll have to, of course, celebrate the Shield's 10th anniversary because that happened today. Was their
Nice.
life, of course, and I can always talk about that. Even though I had no idea who they were at the time, so can talk about that as well. So, all right,
There you
well,
go.
we will let you guys get going and enjoy the evening and talk to you soon.